हेलो चिल्ड्रंस, क्या हालचाल है आप सभी के। आशा है कि आप सभी मज़े में होंगे। तो शुरू करते हैं हम चैप्टर नंबर 1। कौन सा चैप्टर नंबर 1? चैप्टर नंबर 1 ऑफ योर बुक फ्लेमिंगो। ठीक है, तो ये जो स्टफ़ है, ये जो प्रेजेंटेशन है, ये मैंने नहीं बनाई है, ये एक्चुअली बनाई है डियर सर ने। तो थैंक यू सो मच, मैं उनका दिल से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। तो देखो, ये कुछ कॉमन वर्ड्स हैं। ग्रेट ब्रिस्टल, लाउड नॉइस, एपिटेंस ट्रेनी और स्टूडेंट, नॉनसेंस means problem. Then comes thumped, which means damaged, reapproach, to criticize or to blame, restless, poor or bad, unpleasant. Right? Clear? चलो समरी स्टार्ट करते हैं। So the last lesson is the short story that sets a small French village. The name of the village is Alice. Right? Remember this thing. And the Labroni, Alice and the Laboni. Wait. Okay. Alice and the Labroni during the Franco-Prussian War. So this war was going during that era. So the story is narrated by a young boy जिसका नाम है French, who is a lazy student and dislikes French lessons and his teacher Miss Hamel. Right? What type of things he dislike? He dislike number 1, Mr. Miss Hamel, and he disliked the French to study. He dislikes the study of French. So the following, why this happens? Because the Germany's takeover of the Alice and the Pony. Berlin has mandated that school teaches the German instead of French. Right? Instead of the school will teach German instead of French. Mr. Hamel expresses the regret for not teaching the students more effectively while stressing the importance of what? Hanji students, so I was talking regarding this chapter. What this chapter suggests you here. देखो, I told you that the last lesson is a short story which talks about the place Alice and the Lauren during the Franco-Prussian War. During the Franco-Prussian War, so war was going. Which war is going? Franco-Russian Prussian War was going. This story is narrated by a young boy whose name is Franz. What is the name of the boy? The name of the boy is French. देखो फ्रेंच से ही लड़के का क्या नाम था? The name of the boy was French. ठीक है, French, French. Got it? तो जो बॉय है वो अपनी इस कहानी को स्टार्ट करता है that with the beginning of the day I started means he said that he started for a school very late that morning and was in a great dread of a scolding. So what kind of dread he was having of being scolded, especially because Mr. Hamel Mr. Hamel was who? Remember, Mr. Hamel was his teacher of French. Because of the country Germany during the year from 19 no, that's the Second World War, in the year 18th century, when the from 1840 to no, not 1840 particularly, but from 1870 to 1871. This was the basically the time period when the Prussian War has been done. So here the war has been done between the French and Germany. Germany has took over this French. Some of the areas were captured by the Germany, and why it was captured, so that they could show their dominance there. Right. So first thing they had decided, because the Germany's takeover over the Ellis and the Lorraine, the Berlin has mandated the schools to teach German instead of French, because this is very common thing that in order to begin means with your own culture, first you need to destroy the previous culture, and this can be the best step which is taken by the Germany in order to promote their religion, their cultural, so that their cultural practices must be followed by these people. Miss Mr. Hamel expresses the regret for not teaching the language German, so effectively, while stressing the importance of the French and most beautiful. So he said that French is the most beautiful logical language in this world, right? As you know, like if you would be in the place of Mr. Hamel, you would say the same words, you will use the same phrase, the most beautiful, the most logical language in this world. This is only a key from escaping from a prison of slavery, which represents basically the German. So, on the last day of the school, Mr. Hamel is particularly sad. French and his classmates are surprised to learn that it is his first last day of teaching after 40 years of the honest service, of the truthful service towards his nation. Mr. Hamel proceed with his lesson and stress the importance of the French language and the responsibility of the French people to preserve their cultural heritage. Right? Mr. Hamel proceed with the lesson and stress the importance of the French language and the responsibility of the French people to preserve their own culture. Their cultural heritage should be preserved. He explains that the language is the most important and essential part of any nation's identity, and that losing it means losing one's freedom. Surprisingly, French suddenly become more interested in the language and understands everything that is being taught. French regrets not paying the attention in the previous lessons and not having learned much of the French language. So there were the two regrets is being clearly can be noticed in the chapter, the last lesson. Sorry, first regret is about by the Mr. Hamel, where he regrets that he was unable to teach the French language as much effective as he could. And second regret is of his student French, who was having the regret of not paying attention towards the previous lessons of the French. French realizes the importance of learning his mother tongue and how illiteracy contributed to their defeat by the Germans. He believes the one's language is inherent and cannot be taken away, like the co of peasant or French to Frenchman. Right. So ultimately, this was his realization, and the important thing is that At the end of lesson, Mr. Hamel dismisses the student and they all leave the classroom in silence. As they leave, French look back at the classroom and realizes that he will never again have the chance to learn French. The story ends with the French reflecting on importance of language and the cultural heritage and it plays an important or integral role in developing or shaping out one's identity. So right, this is the main theme, or we can say the main line of this chapter, that this whole chapter is signifies, or it shows the importance, it highlights the importance of language and the cultural heritage, and how these factors are basically involved to shaping up one's identity. Overall, the last lesson is a touching story that highlights the significance of the language and the cultural identity as a symbol and the symbol of freedom. It urges reader to appreciate and preserve their cultural heritage, including their language, before it's too late. Like for the French, what can we do? It's just the realization to the French that now he cannot do anything because he had wasted his precious time in doing such, or we can say, irrelevant activity which need not to be taken up. Let's see the important question out from this chapter. First question is, how who did Mr. Hamel blame when the French was unable to question on the French participle? So Mr. Hamel, while questioning to the French on the French participle, he blamed himself only. He said that he was not able to he was not able to give his best. He could be more effective in teaching the French. Right? Describe the atmosphere in the class on the day of last lesson. So you can explain that everything, students must be surprised that after that they will not gonna learn this lesson. Secondly, the teacher must be feeling so bad that he would not be able to teach his lovely students the lesson. Also, the oh, means together we can say that whole atmosphere of the class must be very sad, it must be very sorrowful, right? Our language is the part of our culture and we are proud of it. Describe how regretful Mr. Hamel and the village elders are for having neglected their native language. You can add the, or you can quote the words of the Mr. Hamel. What he said that the language, that is French language, is the most beautiful, most clear language in this whole world, most logical, most beautiful language in the whole world. Also, he also uses the word like that this is the key to the prison of the slavery, basically represents the Germans dominance upon the French. Right? What was Hammel's regret on the day of last lesson? Can you able to answer this? So his regret was that he was that why he had not done the effective reading of this, of what, of the last lesson. Next chapter, second chapter, that is Lost Spring. So this contains the two stories. First is about a child, basically both are the child. This all belongs to the Dalit community of our society. So before that, let's understand the two chapters. The first chapter is something I find a rupee in the garbage. So scorching means searching or looking around. Dissolution means empty state or alone. Squats means unlawful acquiring of barren land. Furnace means a closed structure that is very hot and used to melt metals. Improvised means poor. Renovate means to make something new or to renew something. Vicious means brutal or harsh. Apathy means unconcern. Stigma means disgrace or shame, and appealing means shocking or horrific. So summary begins like the story is about the slum of Firozabad, India, where the children's migrant workers live. So this is the story of which place this story is about the slums of the Firozabad, which is found in India, where the children are migrant workers live and work in in the applying conditions to support their families. The story follows the life of two characters, Sahib and Mukesh, and their struggle to escape from this cycle of poverty. So remember that this cycle is very harsh to both Sahib as well as Mukesh, how they had escaped from this cycle of poverty. That chapter is basically showing. So basically, this chapter's main theme is that how to challenge out the different, means how to overcome the different challenges with the great enthusiasm in us. The story is about the boy named that Sahib, a young boy who works as a rag picker. He came to the city with his family because his house was destroyed by storms at Dhaka. So, what was the reason that is denoted why he had come to this city, Firozabad? Because his house in the Bangladesh that has been destroyed by the storms. Storms. Dhaka is basically found in Bangladesh. He dreams of escaping his life poverty and one day going to school. He has never been to school and has no knowledge of anything outside the community. He spends most of his day working long hours in the factory and has no time or no time for play or education. The narrator suggests Sahib that Sahib should go to school, but he says there is no school in the area. The narrator promises to start a school, to begin a new school for him, but the Sahib realizes that people like him are often promised things and that are not kept. So the promise with that are not kept. Next is children's living in the extreme poverty, barefoot on the streets, how this may be due to the lack of resources rather than a tradition. Children's like in the extreme poverty walk barefoot on the streets, on how this may be due to the lack of resources rather than a tradition, because maximum people believes that they got more earning by doing such kind of the irrelevant work which is not even suitable for their health. But the reality is that this is not a tradition which is being followed by these people, it's the condition. uh, because due to the lack of resources this whole thing begins. Next is the incident where a man from the Udipuri sorry incident where a man from Udipuri prayed for shoes as a child and his prayers were eventually answered, right? Next is Sahib and his family are from the place called Simapuri near Delhi, where the rag pickers who came from the Bangladesh in the year 1971 live. They are not given any official identity or permits except for uh, except for ration card that they help them to eat and vote. So right, they are used as a vote bank. There is no importance else than it. They are just being used as a vote bank, right? Remember that author, after the few months, author asked him his name. So who basically Sahib's name, and he said Sahibe Alam. Sahibe Alam. That is too ironical to this story. Why? Because Sahibe Alam means the Lord of the universe. So this first story, that is something I found a rupee in the garbage. The story ends by saying that Sahib has found the new job at the tea stall where he paid a little more than given and given meals, but he is no longer carefree and misses his freedom. Right? The steel can steer he now carries seem heavier than the plastic bags he used for rag picking, because children's, if you are understanding, then you must be knowing that it is very much right to work under, means it is very difficult for the one who just lives the freedom, who just survive as a freedom. Rag picking is one of the independent work of the sahib alam. However, the second job, that is at the tea shop, that is not much effective, as he is being working under someone. So that's not been a proper feeling giving to him, right? Next is so finding even a small money of um, is a big deal. So this story highlights how rag picking has become the art form of for them, and for the childrens like Sai, finding even a small amount for the money is a big deal. Sai is later seen wearing a pair of tennis shoes that he was very happy about. Oh, so that first chapter, that is something that I found in the something. Sometimes I found a rupee in a garden, in a garbage, in the garbage. This first part is clear. This is about a Saibe Alam. His name is too much ironical to this story, because Saibe Alam means the universe, Lord of the universe. However, Sahib actually do what? He's a rag picker. However, ultimately he has upgraded his life, and he now started working at the tea stall. However, he misses his independence, but still, in the end, Othar found him that he is wearing the tennis shoes. Remember even the that story of the Udipuri, which explains us regarding the boy who had prayed for the shoes and his prayer was being accepted. So can you think that how the condition, how is would be the mental condition of such people? Next is Mukesh is a young boy who has been given up his on his dreams, right? Sorry, actually I was seeing the group where just a second, this is also the one notes. So children, remember that the theme of this is the importance of valuing one's cultural heritage. It is our language and our soul. We must always keep learning it. Okay, so see here, ultimately he got the tennis shoes. Ultimately, you see this mind map once. So see, this is the boy. What is the name of boy? The name of the boy is Sahib. Okay, name of the boy Sahib. He's a rag picker. He's poor. What is his dream? His dream to go to school. He just walks barefoot over the streets, मतलब नंगे पैर ही चलता था वो. Now ultimately he got the job in the tea stop. Now he makes the food and money by himself. However, he misses his independent job of rap picking. So second story is about a boy whose name is Mukesh. I want to drive a car. So Mukesh wants to drive what? A car. Mukesh is a young boy who has given up his own dreams of being a motor mechanic of going to school and has given himself to a life of working in the same Bengal factory as his father. But he's saying Mukesh is a young boy who has given up on his dreams of being a motor mechanic, of going to school, and has given up himself to a life of working in the same Bengal factory as his father does. So he believes that there is no way out of poverty. He takes the author to his house, where she sees the working condition as glim with high temperature. Means at a glance she had observed everything. She had observed the high temperature around the uh, furnaces and the inadequate air and light. The Bengal making trade has been passed down through the generation of the particular caste, but the families remains poor despite the whole the family working. Why? What is the reason behind this? Because the Bengal makers has lost their craft to machines, and their art is now reduced and low quality products. So Bengal making trade has been passed up to the new gadgets like machine. So their art is now reduced to the cheap and low quality products. Next is the use of the child's labor is illegal, but the Bengal maker are unaware of this, and the fear of being beaten away by the police makes it difficult for them to form a cooperative and improve their living conditions. The story also touches on the lives of Bengal makers who has been the trade for generation but are now struggling to make a living. The narrator asks the Mukesh if he like to be a pilot someday, but he seemed embarrassed and replies that he is content dreaming about a motor mechanic. He feels that flying a plane is beyond his reach given his current situation. So the author, through this story, comments on the tragic effect of poverty on the lives of the children and their family. Poverty strips the children of their innocence and drives them from of basic education and forces them to engage in child labor. They are unable to realize their dreams and resign their uh, s- life or and resigned. They had unable to realize their dreams and are resigned to a life of struggle. So, Lost Spring is a powerful commentary on the dehumanizing effect of poverty and the need for education and a social change. The society urges reader to recognize the plight of poor and to work towards the world where children like Sahib and Mukesh can realize their dream and escape the cycle of poverty. Right? So this whole chapter is a powerful commentary on the dehumanizing effect of poverty and the need for education and social change, because that is only one of the thing that can change our society, make it better place to survive. The story urges the readers to recognize the plight of poor and to work towards a world where the children like Saib and Mukesh can realize their dreams and escape the cycle of poverty. Next is garbage to them is gold. How do rag picker of Simapuri survive? So why it is written that garbage is gold to them? Do it actually? No, it's not. Garbage is gold for them because from it is only the garbage from which they are earning some or like some money for their survival. Even these people, they spend lots of their time in doing rag picking which may affect their health, but however, in order to survive, in order to get the money, they have to do and follow up these steps. set of steps in order to survive only. It's just a survival. Describe the living condition prevailing in the Firozabad. Mention why the bangle making business does not give the bangle maker a comfortable life. So the the condition that are prevailing in the Firozabad are too bad. The basically the worker uh, in the means in the fronts, sorry, the workers who are working in the furnaces, they where the temperature is so high and the air is the atmosphere is too bad to survive. So they are doing the work in such life, but also along with this their value of their work has been reduced because of a different alternative, cheap and best alternative, that is with the use of machines. So their art become useless now. Reason is why the bangle making business does not give the bangle makers a comfortable life, because the life they are surviving, that is full with the sacrifices. It's the grandmother of the Mukesh that she has lost her eyes. Why? Because of the high furnaces. Because working at the hot furnaces, in the front of hot furnaces, right? How is Mukesh attitude towards his situation different from that of Saib, and why? So Mukesh wants to be a mechanical engineer, or he want to drive a car. The most common different, uh, say Mukesh can do study if he wants to, but he had chosen the life which is not meant for him, right? So that's why this question is given to give to, basically you have to distinguish between the Mukesh as well as Sahib. For Sahib, or in one thing, if we observe, these both are the same thing. These are doing the child laborer. They are doing what? They are doing child. They are treated as child labor. Got it? Okay. So in the year 1917, Bangladeshi migrant come to Delhi looking for gold in the big cities. What kind of life they are living in Simapuri? They are living the worst life. They are They are walking on the streets with their bare foot. They don't have the proper resources, due to which they have to just pick up the garbage, do the rag picking, which ultimate source of their enjoyed. Next chapter is the deep water. Deep water is again the wonderful chapter where the dough. Let's understand some of the words. First one is the Tarculus, Tarculus, which means dangerous. Arvision means resistance. Throbbed means to beat. Dovse means sleepy. Miniature means small. And oblivion means blackout. So now the author had a fear of water due to a previous incident. First of all, should I reveal the name of the author? Basically, here I is written, but this chapter, Deep Water, is written by actually whom? Should I reveal the name or let it be a secret? Okay, let's reveal it. It's what I had written, William. This is the name of whom? Of the author. Got it? Okay. So, given that Arthur was having some fear of water due to the previous incident when he was 3 or 4 year old, he begins by sharing an unpleasant event that occurred when he was around 10 or 11 year old. So basically, in the year means during the year 3 to 4 years, he was hit by an incident due to which the fear of water has been generated in his mind. And in the year means presently his age was 10 to 11 years, and now he is telling his experiences, or he may be writing these in his diary or somewhere else. So while at the California beach, his father and he was basically with his father at the California beach. He was knocked down by the waves and buried in the water, leading to his fear of water. However, he decided to learn swimming at the YMCA pool with the newfound confidence. What happened? Basically, while he was at California with his dad, and he was knocked down by the waves and buried in the water. So this was the incident which author wants to write, actually say about this incident. Now, when his age is 10 to 11 years, he now generated some of the confidence. He just jot up all his courage, and he found a new confidence of doing this swimming at YMCA pool. YMCA pool. YMCA full form is Young Men Christian Association, Yakima. So he started by paddling around in the water with his water wings. He tried copying the other boys who had come to swim the pool. One day he arrives at the pool to find uh, he found himself early and alone. He was scared of going into the water alone and waited for some other people to show up. So a big muscular boy, 18-year-old, showed up and started pulling him and tossed him into the pool. He fell into the water on in water in sitting position and swallowed lots of water. As he was drowning, he planned him to come back. As he was drowning, he planned his comeback out of the water. He imagined that he would kick off the floor as soon as he hit it. He imagined that he would kick off the floor as soon as he hit it. When he finally touched the bottom of the pool, the author kicked hard. With a great force, he tried to reach to the surface, however, he failed. So he tried to scream, but no sound came out. Eventually, he was able to reach the surface and take the breath, but he quickly started drowning again. Despite trying to fight, he was unable to move his legs and started sinking back towards the bottom of the pool. He screamed in terror, but it was of no help. But it was of no help. He eventually lost his consciousness. The next thing he remembered that he was hearing the people talking. The boy who pushed him into the pool claimed it and uh, claimed it was a joke, while someone else started that he was close to death. After going home, he felt weak and emotionally disturbed, unable to handle even the slightest physical exertion. A few years after his traumatic experience at YMCA pool, the author continued to struggle with the fear of water. He felt paralyzed and unable to move his legs when uh, he, uh, he was not able to enjoy the swimming and boating. His fear remained as it was. In October, the author decided to take a step-by-step approach to learning the swim with the help of an instructor. Over the course of 3 months, he practiced swimming dedicatedly with a rope and tied around him. Guided by his instructor, he gradually overcame his fear of water and learned to breathe underwater. Eventually, the instructor declared that the author was ready to swim on his own. Although he received the approval from the instructor, the author was still unaware of his abilities. Unsure of his abilities, he continued practicing in the pool until July, still experiences the moment of fear. To overcome his fear, he swam 2 miles across the lake when thought on facing fear. Once, when he put his face underwater in the middle of the lake. However, to his surprise, when he went swimming in the warm lake, he was able to swim across the lake and back without any trouble. He was finally rid of his fear and felt the immense joy. So the author considered that this significant experience only understood by those who had faced the severe fear and conquered it, because that's most important thing. You have to conquer your fear with the proper strength, with the proper courage. So he cited uh, from the Roosevelt and starting that the only thing to fear is fear itself, that there is a peace in death. Next is, he always admires those as heroes who face challenges bravely in the different phases of life and emerges successfully. Elaborate on this statement, because it's very important to face the challenge and even face it with that proper courage. We should have the ability to know our disabilities and try to improvise by doing the proper actions, and along with this we should conquer our fear, because that's the most important thing we could do. Hope so this is clear. With the help of courage, one can achieve a lot. How did Doe overcome his fear of water? So, the Doe has used his step by step approach, in which he was being tied by an instructor, and he always give his best in order to conquer his fear, and in order to develop his ability, right? So, by this way, with the help of courage, he had achieved over his fear, and ultimately he said that the thing which of which w- we fear of or we scare of is itself a fear. How did the Joe experience at the YMC pool affect him, and how did he overcome it? So basically, when he was being bullied by the 18-year-old boy at the YMCA pool, then he was at during that time he faces lots of suffocation. He basically made the best use of his skills, right? What misadventure did the Doe experience at the YMC swimming pool? So all these things, hope so you may able to answer. So this is your chapter number 4. Which chapter? Chapter number 4. Okay, we'll begin with this chapter in the next video. Till that, stay tuned and have a nice day.